The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. This is one of the most famous quotes by Malcolm X. And at first, I wasn't going to speak out about um, Sundays. I don't know what you could call that. I don't know. There's just no words for that. That was the most despicable behavior for adults that I can imagine ever seeing. But I couldn't sit back because in my mind I was steadily thinking about everybody is so upset and they have a right to be. Puerto Rico has a right to be. But I was thinking, where is the outcry um, about a Black woman who's running for office? Where is the disrespect that her name, her character, her every being has been so disrespected, so her character, everything. Where is anybody saying anything about that? Why, when this comedian says those terrible things, women, why? No one is saying anything. Well, just a few have stood up for her, but not the outcry that should be from Black folks. So I was like, no, if if you know something's wrong, you got to say something. And so I decided to go ahead, put this little PowerPoint presentation in together, and well, let's just see where it takes us. Van Jones slammed the double standards, which he should, and he is right. He gets to be lawless. She has to be flawless. And this is kind of, if you've been on Facebook, this is something that's been going around. So, like I said, it hasn't, some people have stepped up to the plate. Not many. Former First Lady Michelle Obama, she stepped up, but we know that's her character. And saying people generally hold Miss Harris to a higher standard than they do for Mr. Trump, who she says is a convicted felon. Now, after his speech, Trump went on Monday saying, and that Michelle, he didn't even call Michelle is nasty. She treated me nasty. Have you ever noticed every time he's talking about a woman, particularly a Black woman, it's nasty? And our Black men don't say a word, and then you want to vote for him? What do you think? He thinks nothing of you, nothing. And he's a man. If he has no respect for a woman, what makes you think he has anything for you? Anyway, there were some terrible things that was said, and at first I was going to put the video a replay, but I couldn't do that. It was bad enough listening to it when I did, and I don't want to hear it again. So I just typed out um, some of the top seven, according to Newsweek, the top seven things that were probably the most worst and the most vulgar. And then be, before that, when I noticed that when the comedian started out and he said, "Where are all my Puerto Ricos?" And then the camera zoomed into this group that was from Puerto Rico. And they were, oh, yeah, happy signs and all that. And then he lit into them. And guess what? The camera didn't go back and find them smiling and grinning. And nope, nope, it didn't do that. Number one, floating island of garbage. I don't know if you guys know this, But there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, and I think it's called Puerto Rico. If you could have seen those faces, it was totally different. It was like, no, he didn't. And then these Latinos, they love making babies. Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. So most people would say open arms. And by arms, I mean like this. And he showed it. He showed it, waving his hands. No, no, mouthing, go back, go back. Now that wasn't enough. And then he added the line on about the babies. And it was so vulgar that some of the TV media, they beeped it out. And that's when I refuse to even play it. And I'm not even going to read it. You can read it for yourself. Because that's disgusting. And then here, this is what I got. Here again, cameras, they moved over to when, oh, a black man. That's cool. A black guy with a thing on his head. A thing on his head? What the hell is that? A lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm just kidding. He's one of my buddies. He wasn't one of your buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. Now, if that had been a black guy and another black guy, you'd be ready to fight. But instead, you let this white man humiliate you in public across millions watching. And then you want to vote for Trump? What do you think? He thinks nothing of you. Nothing. Harris is the Antichrist. And this guy who said it, he hasn't, they claim, oh, Trump's childhood friend. He doesn't have any childhood friends. And according to the fact check, he only met the man a couple of weeks ago. But according to Trump, he didn't even know him. He didn't know anything about this. Well, if you didn't know anything about this, how in hell can you be a leader, a president? Harris and her pimp handlers. Kamala Harris is the least qualified candidate. I think, back this up, I think you got that wrong. You should be saying Trump, Donald J. Trump, is the least qualified candidate, not only in this race, but in any political office in American history. That's what it should have been. And then the last line, her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country. They will. So you're allowing us with no outcry, no major outcry, her not calling her by her name or her title, Vice President Kamala Harris, her pimp handler. Well, who would be her pimp handlers? You, black man. Nazi rally. I get back. This is a radio personality. I just got back from Israel 2 weeks ago. They love Trump in Israel. And then Trump has just said several weeks ago that if they don't vote for him and all that he did for what can I say? They asked me, do you want to speak at this MSG thing? I go, sure. Out of character for me to speak at a Nazi rally. I was just in Israel, but I took the gig. Really? Really? People, did you understand it? And this last one, she is some sick, and we can all read and figure it out. A bunch of degenerates Low lives, Jew haters, and low lives. Every one of them. Every one of them. Uh, what what's wrong with people? You know, what I got was we want to get mad and say, oh, it was so bad, the comedian and everything. But look at that audience. If you go back and you look at it, that audience was like when you see an old reel showing Hitler, when he would have his crowds and speak, it was the same thing. You could just see it. Or when they show in a Western, they're going to hang somebody and the crowd is jeering. And there's a picture out of when they hung, beat, stabbed, shot, and burned a black man right downtown on Farnham Street. When they did that, you look at that, look at the audience, the people, and even some of them had their kids out there watching, cheering, jeering. When you see old clips of hangings, lynching of black folks or slaves that had been beat and then hung or lynched, and some of them were lynched before. When you see a picture of Emmett Till, these people are excited. What is wrong with our society? Have we become so small? Have we no respect for life, a human being? What's wrong with us? I don't get it anymore. We need to vote Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. We need to vote, vote, vote. Vote as if your life depends on it, because it does. Not just your life, but your life and what's coming forth for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, nephews, uncle, whatever, for their life, their future. Why do you want to vote for someone who's going to take you backwards when they tell you they're going to use a law that's, what, 1789, 1798, to take and have the military use against its own people to deport millions of people? Oh, people. Excuse me. I checked with the registered Douglas County Voters Commission, and I wanted to see what it was looking like for early voting. And so I looked up first is how many voters were registered. And as of 10/1/2024, 363,121. Now, this has changed because this is done the first week of every month. So we know this is the latter part of October, so therefore we know that that number has increased. But I thought it was interesting to see the classification and the number of people that are registered voters. Why? Because here is early voting in Douglas County through October 28, 2024. We are at a total of 93,111. So through the drop box, 68,000. Mail or email. And when it has email, it is those who are our service people or people who are living abroad, out of the country for that. That's where those people come in and get a chance to email. And then you have in person. What I noticed was if you look at the in person, Republican, Democrat, and the nonpartisan, the numbers, look at who votes the most in person. The drop box, 31,000 Democrat, 24,000 Republican, and 12,000 nonpartisan. Mail, 4,600 Republican, 6,700 Democrat, and 26 for nonpartisan. Again, You must vote Tuesday. And I guess must is a harsh, cruel word, but I don't know what else to say. We need to vote. We've got to vote. If we want to save this little bit of democracy that we have, if we want to save some of the little rights that we have, we've got to, folks. We've got to get out and vote. We have to. That's the only thing. Otherwise, you will, if the GOP gets in, you will have Project 2025. They're showing you that already. What does it take to make you understand? What does it take for you to comprehend what you're going to have if you don't vote? And for those who say, well, it won't make any difference, that's a cop out. So I can't preach anymore. Tune in for tomorrow's update. And thanks for tuning in on Conversations with Cheryl Weston. And we look forward to meeting again.